Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! The reflection of his tired eyes greeted his gaze as he stood outside the bathroom. Shadows framed his dark circles, like a canvas painted with the past decade of torment. He took a hesitant step forward, his palm reaching for the doorknob, before retracting with a swift, almost imperceptible movement. Braden had a routine, avoiding the mirror at all costs, his feet turning naturally towards the shower, blind to its judgmental surface. On the rare occasion he had to glance at it, his eyes would dart, briefly observing his appearance in fragmented parts, a cautious peek at his tousled hair, or a quick assessment of his teeth, never daring to meet his own gaze.
"Hey, Braden."
The voice cut through the silence, carrying from the living room.
"You're not still avoiding that mirror, are you?"
Mom sent me to check if you're still alive, since you've been AWOL from family gatherings for 3 months straight. The bathroom door opened a crack. "I'm fine, Elise. Just finishing up." "Well, hurry! I brought lunch, and I refuse to eat alone while you skulk around this apartment." Elise, 4 years older and infinitely more confident, had always been the family favorite. Where Braden retreated, she advanced. Where he whispered, she proclaimed. And most noticeably, where his face erupted in angry red constellations, her skin remained smooth and flawless. Splashing cold water on his face, Braden patted it dry with a towel, careful not to press too hard against the tender spots. He pulled the hood of his gray sweatshirt up, a shield against the world's eyes, and emerged. "There you are." Elise looked up from unpacking containers of Thai food on the coffee table. "Hood down indoors, please. We've talked about this." "Not today. Every day is not today, with you." She sighed, settling onto the couch and patting the cushion beside her. "Come on, pad thai's getting cold." The smell of peanut sauce and lime pulled him forward. He sat, keeping his face angled away from her, focusing instead on the food. "Mom's worried about you," Elise said between bites. "You haven't been to Sunday dinner in forever. Grandma keeps asking if you've joined a cult." "Tell them I'm busy with work. They know you work remotely and rarely leave this apartment." She set down her fork. "Look at me, Braden." "I'd rather not." "The acne isn't as bad as you think. It's exactly as bad as I think." His voice hardened. "I've had doctors tell me it's the worst case they've seen. I've tried everything. Antibiotics, isotretinoin, special diets, bizarre creams. Nothing works." Elise's expression softened. "I know. I'm sorry." She hesitated. "I actually brought something that might help. Not a cure, just something to make facing the world a little easier." From her purse, she pulled out a small bottle of beige liquid. "What's that supposed to be?" "Foundation, the heavy-duty kind. Celebrities with skin issues use this brand." Braden snorted. "You want me to wear makeup?" "I want you to have options. This isn't about femininity or masculinity. It's about confidence." Her tone grew frustrated. "You're 32 and hiding in your apartment like a hermit because of your skin. Would you rather continue like this, or try something that might help?" The bottle sat between them, innocuous yet somehow threatening. "I don't even know how to use that stuff." "That's why I'm here." She waved away his protest. "Just try it. If you hate it, wash it off, and we'll never speak of it again." 20 minutes later, after significant resistance and several false starts, Braden stood before the bathroom mirror, truly looking at his reflection for the first time in years. The transformation wasn't perfect. Beneath the layer of foundation, hints of texture remained. But the angry redness had disappeared, replaced by an even tone that looked remarkably like normal skin. "Holy shit," he whispered. Elise appeared behind him in the mirror, smiling. "See? It's waterproof and designed not to clog pores. You can wear it all day without making things worse." His fingertips ghosted over his cheek, afraid to disturb the illusion. "I look normal." "You look like you." She squeezed his shoulder. "The you that's always been there beneath the acne." After Elise left, Braden couldn't stop returning to the mirror, stealing glances at this new version of himself. Something shifted that afternoon, not just in how he saw his reflection, but in how he felt inside his own skin. The next morning, he woke with an unfamiliar feeling: anticipation. He showered carefully and attempted to recreate what Elise had shown him, though his efforts were clumsy. The result wasn't as seamless as hers, but the difference was still striking enough to make his heart race. For the first time in years, he opened his laptop camera for a work meeting without dreading it. Nobody commented. Nobody stared. He was just another face on the screen. That evening, he found himself on beauty websites, initially searching for foundation techniques, but quickly falling down a rabbit hole of tutorials. The precision and artistry fascinated him, the transformation of features through shadow and light, the way a simple line could change the entire character of a face. 3 days later, a package arrived containing his own foundation, plus concealer and setting powder. A week after that, another package brought brushes and primer. He told himself it was practical. Tools for solving a problem, nothing more. But late at night, alone in his bathroom with tutorial videos playing on his phone, something else was happening. Each sweep of the brush felt like more than cover-up. Each new technique mastered brought not just confidence, but a strange sense of becoming. "You seem different," his mother commented during their weekly phone call. "More like yourself somehow." "Just been getting more sleep," he replied, not ready to explain. The makeup collection grew. Blush appeared alongside the foundation, then bronzer and highlight. Eye products multiplied in his bathroom drawer, neutral shadows at first, then more adventurous colors. His justifications evolved from, "It's just to look normal," to, "I'm developing a skill," to, eventually, no justification at all. 3 months after Elise's visit, Braden stood before the mirror with a different goal. Not to hide, but to transform. He'd watched countless tutorials on feminizing makeup techniques, studying the ways contour could soften a jaw, how highlighting could enhance cheekbones, how the right eyebrow shape could change an entire face. The auburn wig had been an impulse purchase, justified as practice for full face looks. Now he removed it carefully from its box, running his fingers through the silky strands that fell just past shoulder length. His hands trembled as he positioned it over his short brown hair, adjusting until it looked natural. The person in the mirror caught his breath. Familiar, yet wonderfully strange. 2 hours later, with meticulous makeup applied and the wig styled, Braden barely recognized himself. The angry skin that had defined him for so long was now just a canvas for something beautiful, something that felt inexplicably right. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and whispered, "Remy." The name had come to him weeks ago, floating into his consciousness during a dream. He'd dismissed it upon waking, but it kept returning, like a persistent echo.
"Remy,"
he repeated, stronger this time. Opening his eyes, he addressed his reflection directly.
"Hello, Remy."
The auburn-haired woman in the mirror smiled back. That night, he ordered his first clothing items, simple things, a black skirt and cream-colored blouse delivered in discreet packaging. When they arrived, he closed all the blinds before trying them on, heart pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The clothes fit poorly, chosen hastily without proper measurements, but even so, paired with the wig and makeup, they completed a picture that made him sit on the edge of the bathtub, overwhelmed by emotions he couldn't name. For 3 months, Remy existed only within the walls of the apartment. During work hours and family calls, Braden appeared, now with clear skin thanks to expertly applied makeup. But evenings and weekends belonged to Remy, who grew more confident with each passing day. The makeup collection expanded. The wardrobe improved as Braden learned proper sizing. The cheap auburn wig was replaced by a higher quality one, then another with a more flattering cut. Shoes appeared in the closet, sensible flats at first, then low heels, each new pair requiring patient practice. When Elise called to check in, Braden nearly told her everything. Instead, he simply thanked her for the foundation, mentioning casually that it had helped a lot. "You sound different," she said. "Happier."
"I am,"
he replied, glancing at the auburn wig displayed on a stand nearby. 6 months into this double life, the boundaries began to blur. Braden found himself incorporating subtle elements of Remy into his daily appearance. Clear coatnail polish, a women's watch with a slender band, growing his natural hair longer than he'd ever worn it before. At night, he researched hormone therapy, reading testimonials from transgender women, learning terms like gender dysphoria and transitioning. The words resonated, illuminating feelings he'd carried for years without having language to express them. The revelation wasn't sudden but gradual, like dawn breaking slowly after a long night. The understanding that makeup hadn't created Remy, it had simply revealed her. One evening, Braden sat at his computer, cursor hovering over the join button for an online support group. After 3 false starts, he finally clicked, creating a profile under the name Remy with no photo.
"I don't know if I belong here,"
he typed in the introduction forum. "I'm still figuring things out, but I think I might be transgender." The responses came quickly, welcoming, understanding, free of judgment. Through these conversations, Remy found the courage to schedule an appointment with a gender therapist who helped navigate the complex emotions and practical considerations of transition. 2 weeks before the 8-month anniversary of Elise's pivotal visit, Remy made a decision. It was time for Braden to fade and for Remy to step forward, not just in private moments, but in the world. The black cocktail dress hung on the closet door, tags still attached. Beside it stood the red heels, higher than any she'd worn before. Tonight was the gathering, a small party at the apartment of someone from the support group, expressly for people at various stages of transition. Her first time out as herself, her debut. Sitting at the vanity, Remy applied foundation with practiced ease, the once daunting task now almost meditative. She contoured her cheekbones and jaw, highlighted the high points of her face, defined her brows, and created a subtle, smoky eye that made her green eyes stand out against her auburn hair. No longer a wig, but her own hair, grown out and professionally colored to the warm red-brown shade she'd come to identify as quintessentially her. The dress slid over her head, fitting the form she'd been gradually reshaping through targeted exercises. The heels added inches to her height and confidence to her posture. A spritz of perfume, vanilla and amber, completed the transformation. Standing before the full-length mirror, Remy saw herself truly whole for the first time. Not Brayden in costume, but Remy in her authentic form. The doorbell rang, startling her from her reflection. Elise was early. Remy had deliberated for weeks about who should be the first family member to meet her true self. The choice was obvious. The person who'd handed her that first bottle of foundation without realizing she was opening a door to a whole new life. With one last glance in the mirror, Remy walked to the door, each step in the red heels deliberate and sure. She opened it slowly. Elise stood with a bottle of wine in hand, mouth forming a greeting that never emerged. Her eyes widened as she took in the auburn hair, the makeup, the dress, the complete transformation of the person before her. "Brayden?" she whispered. "Remy," came the gentle correction. "My name is Remy now. Please come in. We have a lot to talk about." Elise stepped inside, still speechless. Remy guided her to the couch, where they'd shared Thai food and foundation tips 8 months ago. "I don't understand," Elise finally managed. "Is this a costume? An experiment?" "It's me." Remy's voice was soft but unwavering. "The real me. The person I've been hiding from everyone, including myself, for longer than I can remember." "Because of the acne?" "That was part of it. I hid behind the acne, used it as an excuse to disappear. But when you helped me cover it up, you accidentally uncovered something much deeper." She took Elise's hand. "That foundation didn't just hide my acne, it revealed my truth." Tears welled in Elise's eyes. "I had no idea." "Neither did I. Not consciously. But once I saw my face transformed that first time, something clicked. Each step after that felt like walking toward who I was always meant to be." Elise squeezed her hand. "You look beautiful, Remy. Truly beautiful. And not because of the makeup or the dress, though they're lovely. You look at peace." "I am." Remy smiled through her own tears. "For the first time in my life, I recognized the person in the mirror." They talked for hours. Remy explained her journey, the therapy sessions, the plans for medical transition, the legal name change already in process. Elise listened, asked questions, sometimes cried, but never judged. As the evening progressed, Remy glanced at the clock. "I'm supposed to be at a gathering soon. A support group thing." "Of course, I shouldn't keep you." "Would you like to come with me? As my guest?" The question surprised them both. "I'm nervous about going alone." Elise's smile was answer enough. The party was held in a spacious apartment downtown, filled with people of various ages and styles, all connected by similar journeys. Remy hesitated at the threshold, suddenly overwhelmed, but Elise's hand on her back provided gentle encouragement. "You belong here," she whispered. "And I'm right beside you." Stepping into the room in her black dress and red heels, Remy felt eyes turn toward her, not with the judgment or disgust she'd feared for so long, but with welcome and recognition. A woman with a pixie cut approached, hand extended. "You must be Remy from the forum. I'm Daniela. We've chatted online." "Yes, that's me," Remy replied, the words landing in her chest like truth. "I'm Remy." The evening unfolded in a blur of introductions and conversations. People shared stories of their first time out, offered advice on voice training, discussed favorite makeup brands, and laughed about learning to walk in heels. Through it all, Remy found herself relaxing, the anxiety that had dominated her life for so long giving way to a new sensation, belonging. Near midnight, she found a quiet corner to catch her breath. Elise joined her, champagne flute in hand. "Thank you for bringing me," she said. "I'm learning so much." "Thank you for coming." Remy leaned against the wall, feet aching pleasantly from the unaccustomed heels. "And for not freaking out earlier." "Are you kidding? I'm honored you trusted me." Elise's expression turned serious. "When are you going to tell Mom and Dad?" The question sent a jolt of anxiety through Remy's chest. "Soon. I've been practicing what to say. Want me to be there?" "Could you?" "Wild horses couldn't keep me away." She clinked her glass against Remy's. "To new beginnings." "To becoming real," Remy replied. The following weeks passed in a whirlwind of activity. With Elise's support, Remy told her parents, who responded with confusion that gradually evolved into cautious acceptance. She informed her employer, who arranged sensitivity training for the team and updated her email and credentials. She began hormone therapy, celebrating each small change with quiet joy. 3 months after the party, Remy stood once again before her mirror, preparing for another milestone. Her first day at the office as herself. The navy blue dress with matching blazer projected professional confidence. The auburn hair, now longer and styled in loose waves, framed a face that had softened subtly from the hormone treatments. The makeup was understated, but flawless, her foundation technique now so refined that no trace of the once problematic skin showed through. Her phone chimed with a text from Elise. "Knock 'em dead, sis. Dinner after to hear all about it." Remy smiled, slipped her feet into comfortable low heels, and headed out the door without a backward glance. The mirror that had once been her enemy was now simply a tool, reflecting not who she pretended to be, but who she truly was. The office elevator doors opened onto the familiar marketing department floor, but everything felt new from this perspective. Remy took a deep breath and stepped out, the sound of her heels on the tile announcing her arrival. Heads turned, conversations paused. Then Barbara from HR approached with a warm smile. "Remy, welcome. Everyone's been looking forward to meeting you properly." She gestured toward the conference room. "We've called a brief department meeting so you can say hello all at once, if that's comfortable for you." "That's perfect, actually. Thank you." The conference room held about 20 people, some familiar from video calls, others completely new. Barbara made a simple introduction, explaining that their colleague formerly known as Braden would now be Remy, using she, her pronouns. Remy then spoke briefly, thanking everyone for their support and expressing how much she looked forward to working with them in person after years of remote collaboration. There were questions, of course, some awkward, some thoughtful, all handled with the grace Remy had been practicing for months. By lunchtime, the novelty had largely worn off, and work resumed its normal rhythm. That evening, over pasta with Elise, Remy recounted the day's events. "The strangest part was how quickly it became normal," she mused, twirling linguine around her fork. "By the afternoon, everyone was just focused on the Henderson account crisis." "That's wonderful," Elise said. "Though I'm a little disappointed there wasn't more drama. Would have made a better story." Remy laughed. "Sorry to disappoint, though Mark from accounting did walk into a door because he was staring at me." "Now we're talking." As weeks turned to months, and months to a year, Remy's transition continued both physically and socially. The hormones reshaped her body gradually, softening her face, redistributing fat, changing her scent. Her once problematic skin cleared dramatically, a welcome side effect of the hormonal changes. Her circle expanded beyond the support group to include new friends and even, eventually, dating. The first attempts were awkward. A coffee date with a man who'd seemed promising online but kept asking invasive questions about her body. A dinner with a woman who claimed to be open-minded but clearly saw Remy as an experiment rather than a person. But then came Oliver, met through Elise's book club of all places, a history professor with kind eyes and a gentle laugh, who took Remy at face value and never made her feel like an educational opportunity or a curiosity. On their third date, over dessert, Remy took a deep breath and told him her story. He listened without interruption, asked thoughtful questions, and then reached across the table to take her hand.
"Thank you for trusting me with that,"
he said simply.
"It can't have been easy."
"It gets easier each time," she replied.
"But it's never exactly easy. Well, I'm honored to know the real you."
They continued dating, taking things slowly, building a connection based on shared interests and genuine affection rather than novelty or fascination. 6 months in, Remy realized she'd stopped waiting for the other shoe to drop, for Oliver to reveal some hidden discomfort or fetishization. He simply loved her, complications and all. On the second anniversary of her first outing as Remy, which she now considered her true birthday, she threw a small party in her apartment. Elise helped decorate, stringing lights across the ceiling and arranging flowers on every surface. Oliver mixed cocktails while chatting easily with Remy's parents, who had progressed from reluctant acceptance to genuine pride in their daughter. Friends from work mingled with members of the support group, creating a tapestry of connections that represented the full spectrum of Remy's life. Looking around at the gathering, she felt a fullness in her chest that threatened to overflow. Elise appeared at her side, offering a refilled wine glass. "Happy birthday, sis!" "Thanks for everything." Remy clinked her glass against Elise's. "None of this would have happened without you." "Nonsense. You would have found your way eventually." "Maybe, but you opened the door." Remy glanced toward the bathroom where it had all begun. "That first foundation application changed my entire life." "The foundation didn't change anything." Elise squeezed her hand. "It just helped you see what was already there." Later that night, after the guests had departed and Oliver had fallen asleep in her bed, Remy stood before her mirror in the bathroom. She studied her reflection, the auburn hair now grown past her shoulders, the face transformed by both makeup artistry and hormones, the body that increasingly aligned with her internal image of herself. She remembered the day, now distant, when she'd hidden from this same mirror, unable to bear the sight of her own face. How far that person seemed now, how unfamiliar the pain and shame that had once defined him. "Goodbye, Brayden," she whispered to the memory of that reflection. "Thank you for surviving until I could emerge." From the bedroom came Oliver's sleepy voice. "Remy? Everything okay?" She smiled at herself one last time. "Yes," she called back, turning away from the mirror without a second glance. "Everything is perfect." As she slipped into bed beside Oliver, his arm automatically wrapped around her waist, pulling her close. Outside the window, city lights glimmered like distant stars, a universe of possibilities that once seemed impossibly remote, now within reach. Remy closed her eyes, no longer hiding from her reflection, but at peace with it at last. the foundation that had once concealed, now simply enhancing the woman she had always been meant to become.
Thanks for watching my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!